It is a pretentious title, and it would, without any reference to who I am and introduction, make a kind of a douchebaggy claim that I can answer this question. But what I will do is actually lead you through my career briefly. It's going to be fun. There are pictures up there. And explain in the certain period I had to deal with a lot of clients, and there is a special way about it. It's not as simple, at least it wasn't for me, and I've made tons of mistakes, and some of the mistakes that I did, I will show. It's going to be an embarrassing part of this presentation, and I will probably cringe because I will show you the things that I've sent to a client and I have never used as any self-promotion. But there are lessons hidden within. So I started in '97, fresh out of high school, was not accepted to the Academy of Arts, and I freelanced, for the first year, just gathering my portfolio. Then I got employment in Arxel Tribe company, which was a game producing developer, publisher, and also post-production for the commercials. And then this is the third period that I will address today, where I work for the, clients in advertising as a visualizer, concept artist, and so on. And now I'm employed in a mobile game company. Now, this was me at 17 years old, just fresh out of high school, 18 years old. And it showed some hint of potential, and I was sort of proud and used this period, if you happen to be there, to actually collect everything. You will do an occasional album cover for a friend's band that will never get released. You will do a homepage somewhere, and you will perhaps do some small client jobs, like I did for Joker. But that was just 1 year. And then I got to Arxel Tribe. And this is the next slide. I'm going to probably look away because I will show you that whatever potential and whatever comfort zone I actually hit in this period, where I actually tailored my rules and I've chosen my motifs, it didn't work that way when you start working for a client. Okay, here it goes. Oh, fuck. Just first year was just I was tiling textures. All I did was just, like tiling bricks and wood and, cracks for the commercial outro or, whatever it was. Then I dipped into 3D modeling, and I was so out of my comfort zone that when I could fake the 2D image, however you wanted, like Ruslan said, when you went into 3D, you saw that you don't have a clue about art. And what this period actually did, and I'm forever grateful that I had the opportunity to thank, and even if Matjaž and Zanko will hear this, I'm grateful that they accepted me. And what happened in this period, I learned something that I didn't learn in this period, is how to finish stuff. Finish stuff with the conditions that somebody else actually made up. And in about, like 5-6 years of just trying everything and having the possibility to make mistakes and nobody would actually fire me, that's why I'm grateful, I dipped into different sort of things and I learned how to treat a deadline. And that is the thing that people, before they actually find a client or a company, they don't know hell about a deadline. They think they do, but they don't really. So when I went solo, this is another fucking embarrassing slides. This is what I was living off. I knew how to finish it, I knew how to make it functional, but I didn't have the grasp of my talent that all this potential, even 7 years ago, it was better than this. And what happened in Arxel, also my portfolio didn't grow at all. It will happen that way, if you go and actually enroll in a company. Your portfolios might not actually kind of climb up, but your experience will. And this is the period I'll be addressing today from 2004 to 2011. It was about 6 years that I was just, hooking myself out for a paycheck, for a 1-day, 2-day, 3-month period in commercials mainly. And then at the end of the period, the situation got slightly better. The talent actually, I didn't actually become a better artist. I became a better producer of art. And this is what I'll be talking about, and this is what a client actually appreciates, and you have to be aware of this. So this was just before, of course, this happens in your free time, but you never sell this, and you only use this for possibly, to upload it on your portfolio. So this is completely irrelevant, and it's a part of a whole other lecture. This is what I'll be talking about. Out of your comfort zone, rules that are set by some other guy that you possibly haven't even seen. And today, I am a client. I work with freelancers, some of you that are sitting here, and I can reflect on the things that I did from the other perspective. And that is sort of a valuable thing for me. Yes, I did stop drawing, and I'm a game designer now, which was my forever love, even from Arxel. So yes, this period. During this period, during these 6 years, I had been dealing with over 50 clients that introduced me to 120 brands, and I finished 350 projects. And some of them were embarrassing, and some of them will never be seen again like you saw it today. I'm gonna burn that thing. So I have split this whole thing into 5 chapters just to organize, just to make, ends meet. And first, I will address the client, what a client is, what you will, or at least what I've considered as a client. Now, I'm not going to talk about how to get a client, but more how to keep a client. To get a client, I'll briefly just address this. Find a team. As you're fresh, find a team or a company, get a low-end job, do not solo right away, because you'll make mistakes and you will not have the chance to correct them and you'll be losing clients. So whenever you have any sort of, like companies out there, just get in, photocopy the things, just style textures, anything. It will give you the opportunity to make mistakes and you won't get fired because you're down there. And you will just learn your way up. So that's the join. And after a year and a half or 5 years, you just keep your relationship with that company really solid. And this is where I decided to try and solo. That's 2004. Now, what happens when you actually start with Arxel? Arxel, you have a good relationship. So probably for the first period of 6 months, you will probably do only projects for that. Even if you're freelancing, probably just for that, for ex-co-worker and maybe their neighboring agencies that they know. You're not known, you're not even good, so I wasn't, but there is business to be made in that period. And as the phone calls, that's going to be slightly different because there is a guy with a locomotive of people that you will never meet behind, and that's your client. So the guy will probably have an art director there, a company who's working for that has a marketing department, a VP, a CEO, and that's a whole lot of mess if you're not aware of that. And probably the guy that's contacting you doesn't have a clue about what you do and how it's done. So that's the first thing that you have to be aware. This is actually your client. This is a whole mishmash of things that everybody just wants to, outspeak each other. And this is the thing that I want to stress. It is unpredictable, it is dangerous, and it bites. But it is in its unpredictability, that is the fact that it's predictable. So now, this is your contact. And in terms of clients, you have to be aware that whatever self-promotion you're making, nothing will be bigger than the promotion of that client, because that guy talks, right? That's why he has the job of contacting you. He knows a lot of people. And what they do in this region, and I found it that everywhere in the world, they migrate. They migrate from the company to the company, and they bring good experiences with them. So you have to address this guy, and you really treat him good. I'm not saying that you have to suck up to him, but really be careful about this contact. So do not take him as your enemy, take him as your co-worker. But of course, be aware that even if you screw up, that happens the same. Everybody will know it. In the small region as Slovenia is, you screw up once royally, and everybody knows it. And you'll have to find a whole new set of clients, and unless you're amazing, right? So now this is how fast the chapters are going to go through. Now the next chapter is you, me, whoever, freelancer. Now what you need, and this is all you need, and when you're preparing to go out there by yourself, all you need as an artist, I'm not talking about project manager or stuff, so this is all from me. I needed online portfolio, price list, and a basic business setup. And if you don't have those three, you don't even go out there. So online portfolio is what the client actually looks for. It's not those half-naked ladies and the muscle men with the swords that are nicely shaded and you took 3 months to do that. Nobody looks for that. That's maybe the first entry level. But now you have to show diversity. Even if you've never dipped into architecture, just take some time and actually sketch out something that has a straight line. If there is an UI, try to finish it, a user interface, put it up there, because the clients will search. And they will usually search among other candidates. And the more diverse your portfolio is, if you have any free time, just fake it, it will get you in. So 15 pictures are usually enough. Don't overload. I made a mistake. I had disastrous portfolio. I've even removed it now because I don't need it. But 15 pictures are enough. People don't, lose too much time. First 3, 4 images, they scroll through and they make up their mind. And of course, if you already know, what you're going for, just aim at clients' needs. If you're going for I'd say a story artist or a visualizer, pop some storyboards there, put them up a little bit. So this is really the first one that's important. The next one is price list, right? The bane of everything, of every artist. Now let's ask you, that's a half page, you have to have that, right? So you have to bang, this is how much this costs. Do not unload that on your client and actually make them take care of you and what's the budget. No, this is how much this costs. So I'm gonna ask you, what would you charge in Slovenia in 2016 for a half page illustration? That's a 2K illustration, brutto price. What do you go to a client? What would you say? 200, 300? Can you sell it for 400? Yes, you can, if you're good. Even more. For a full-page illustration, if it's a medium client, you can go up to 800. Of course, but you will have to have, a nice little report and a nice portfolio and something. If you're good, 2,000. But of course, if you're working with bulk, if somebody says, right, do me, like 10 full-page illustrations, you won't go 2,000 for one. Of course, you will decrease that to 1,000 or even. And also calculate how much do you need per month and what is your worth and all the info. Now the internet says everything. Visual artist, story artist in Pixar or the studios in Hollywood, 100K a year, right? So place yourself somewhere where you think you're worth it, but don't overprice. And also don't dump the prices because you will not climb out of those. I lowballed my prices and it took 3 years to actually put and, kind of explain to the client why I have raised them. They don't like that. So when you're actually trying to compete, just discuss today, just create a small little cell and decide what would be the, like the price of the talent that is present for our clients, that you don't lowball it. One black and white storyboard frame, come on guys. One picture of a black and white storyboard. That was my price list, I had to have that. I counted per pictures. When they called me and said, okay, I need 20 of them, this is how much, 35 euros brutto. If there were more, done, but that was the price. 1 hour of 3D modeling, right? Usually you work for a week or more. 15. 15. Good point. Climb up to 40. There are people who won't mind if you go 40, but you really have to be good. We'll address that. Why? How can you make somebody actually pay you 40? 1 day of concept art. Just get blush, Purenta for a 1 day. What does it cost? How much? For blush, possibly, yes. He's worth it. You saw why, if you were here. 1 second of single character animation. That's your price list. If you're going there, you have to really, because the client actually just believes you. When you go like this, it's serious. That's the same day. 1 second of a single character animation spread throughout the whole week for 1 second of, blocking and finishing. That's a whole day. 1 second takes a whole day, at the end of the day. So you do the price list for whatever you do. You have your units. Is it a day? Is it a second? Is it a frame? That's with the portfolio, something that you will need. And the bane of all the art is the business setup. Right? Use your day here because people have actually opened DOOs, SPs, like institutions and stuff like that. Do not go home if you don't know about this one. What we did, I actually had Zavod, right? So it was like an institution. And the establishing act is a paperwork like this thick, 30 pages. Everybody in Slovenia had the same. You only exchange the copy-paste and it's all in here. In this room, I'm promising that somebody has opened that thing with that paper. So these sort of events are really useful. So you have to establish, at least to the point that you will send an invoice, right? So when the thing is finished, write the bill. That makes it easy because the guy is going to take it and it's going to just put it to accounting and it's going to be considered, right, this is the guy that I can easily work with. And get accountant, get 4 of you together. If you're so scared of this one, just get there, pay the accountant 200 euros of, like commission that he will explain everything to you. It's not scary. And own your taxes because it is doable. They are high in this country, but that's the third part, portfolio price list. And you have to know how to, just pull out the bill. And that makes it easy, because the client, that's a drive-in, right? For a client, you are a McDrive, right? You go in and go out and the thing is just done and you're fed. It's forward. And that really counts. This is where you're actually climbing from 15 to 40 euros. It doesn't have to do anything with the talent. It's this, ease of use. The most important thing, and the thing that they are not necessarily teaching in schools, I hope they are by now, it's how to plan the whole thing, even if it's one day, even if it's 30 days, even if it's a 3-year project. Now, the client will call you, and what you will do, you have to answer. Of course you're not dumb, but you type of work, the scale, time, and ballpark budget. You haven't said yes at this point. Right? If you manage to say yes, it's fine, you're probably experienced, but this is where you feel what this project is, because it could be like this. It could be a monster hiding in it, and the guy who's actually calling you is completely unaware that he's selling you the art, he's selling you the monster. And it could ruin, sort of your afternoons times 30, and you could actually not break out even, out of all the time spent. So how do you do that? Of course, the first hint that I'm telling you, if there is a hint of, just things going wrong, ask him to wait for 30 minutes and you will call him back. The minute that you put down the phone, you will see a whole different perspective. People usually get stressed and forced into answering, right, I have to have the right answer. Just say, okay, let me just meddle with my schedules, I'll call you back, I need 10 minutes. In 5 minutes, it will be clear. So just dampen that stress if it's really smelling like a monster. And what you will insist, the next thing, is you need to have a live meeting. You don't ever want to receive instructions on your mail in written form. That's a recipe for disaster. That's, like a trap that the client will probably just have insane amount of running changes. So if an example is, okay, I need a commercial 5 shots, never is 5, it's usually 20, but a helicopter that lands on the mountain, there's the injured, mountain climber, and then he's lifted, and the 4th one is, I don't know, he's in the hospital, and the last one is the family is next to him and he has recovered. Right, you see that description in your mail, you draw it out, you finish it, you send it, boom, disaster. No, the helicopter should be coming from other way, no. Go get with the live meetings and don't expect them to be well prepared. In my experience, 80% of all these live meetings were with the clients that had no clue what to do, they only have the need. Probably with a deadline on their back and a couple of nasty bosses, that are just pushing him there. So what that will do is actually it will help him get on your team. It's nothing to do about seeing that guy, no. It's about working together. So you'll see that it has nothing to do with just info, deadline, and then done. You will have to actually ask him, what are the running changes? Does that increase my price? And I should, what is the second meeting point? What are the milestones? Set all this in 2 minutes, you're done. And you have to establish that, right, if you're gonna work with me, with the changes, now I'm gonna sketch out the things. I used my superpower, whatever your superpowers, if it's about sketching, you see how sketching can be done fast. Just point in, decide, and really be a mother to that client, because he has no clue perhaps about what you do. That's probably why he called you, because he hasn't had, he doesn't have a manpower in the house. Rarely there will be clients that are well prepared, and you will leave with a feeling of control. Conditions will be set and your client's comfortable. You see, comfortable, that's also one thing from 15 to 40, that comfortableness in regards to your client actually works when you're actually raising. You will integrate responsibility and you will not receive the changes when you're already on the way out. It only happened in my experience when I was working in that period, only 2% of the projects actually had any sort of corrections, just by live meetings, sketching these things out and having the guy on your side when he's selling within his company. It's really, really important. The fourth, the work. What you will do, you will look at your images, you will know what you did, you will see that cringe moments. I had to look at all during that period and try to improve. It's gonna happen, you see when you're drawing an arm, and if you take 3 days, you see the arm again, you will see the mistakes, you have that ability. So what will help you, it's gonna help you know yourself, and this is really something that you should also communicate, towards the outside people, towards the client. It's about your comfort zone. Where do you feel really creative and really in control and really able to deliver the things? And my sort of strong points where I was really fast with outlines. I shaded really quickly, and I had a couple of styles that I could work with. But I hated coloring. If it had to be done fast, I didn't go for that. And on that live meeting, you also kind of tailor that, just kind of steer the client away from your bad points and towards your good points. I hated print work. You mentioned SMIC to me, and I probably shoot you. And I knew myself that when I worked, I was ignoring life. So any relationships, any food demands and everything, that was just out of the picture. So I was really set on making it fast. And it actually cost me a lot of, health issues and stuff like that. So that's that's good to be aware of. And collect references. I saw artists in the companies where they have a reference there and they're actually painting. And when I went past them, they actually hide the reference, right? They're actually copying, like a pose. And I said, what are you doing? There's not a single professional in this business that doesn't need that. Put it back up and put 3 more up there. And if you need another monitor, to just put the references as you're working, do not be ashamed that you are copying. Use whatever needs. Even Blaž was telling you about this. If you're ashamed of that one, that means that you're a junior. I've copied everything. If there was a model walking towards me on the runway, right in that commercial, not really, just Google it, put it there, trace it out, forget about it. Nobody actually needs to know how you get to that one, but the output should be there. And also communicate back to your clients, establish sort of a period where you will be 100% available from 10 to 5 o'clock any day. You can call me, check your mails. Clients hate that not responding freelancer actually is in the loop. That's bad, And it will just turn out that you are reliable. And also for the deadlines, do not set a date, set an hour. Friday at 15, the thing is going to be there. Really be exact. And it's just going to make it so much easier, that 40 euros. You need extra time. Everybody's afraid, when they are running. Maybe, you were just junior and you lowballed the number and you're running out of time. Call the guy there. There's always reserve time. Every project manager I worked with, maybe some exceptions, there's always a reserve, but don't call it 2 hours before the deadline. One of the critical mistakes that won't put, like a black spot on your name is that you're actually delivering on time. If you come there, to the delivery and say, right, the last 2 frames are missing, that's a critical mistake. Everybody's going to know about it. I know it sounds serious, but you were given 4 days and you finished in 2. What do? Do you want to impress your client and you send it beforehand? Don't. Because next time you'll be giving only 2 days. And they will start decreasing your price. So what you do then is whenever you're dealing with, we're dealing with a freelancing, the time is of an issue and the time equals stress. So if you don't have the time to unload, and in my business, it was spiking like crazy. It wasn't, like a constant, regular job kind of stress and something like that. It was spikes like this. And all this, when I wanted to impress, I rarely did it, boom, I finished before the time. The stress is really something, my biorhythms were all off, I started grinding teeth, and just because I just wanted to impress, I did the motherly thing, but I overdid it. I did everything for the client. So really kind of temper yourself in terms of that one. The last one, the last chapter, these are the truths, the things that might surprise you. I'm just willing to share them because maybe it will take 1 year, 2 months, or maybe 5 years to actually realize that I have never signed a contract beforehand. I always did the work, I sent an invoice, and then I got the contract. So whenever you're actually dealing with, rarely, I'm saying there are companies out there who actually have that, taken care of, but it just speeds up the process. And it's a fact. In this period, in these sort of parts of Europe, the contract is rarely signed, and it's just a template. It's a formality. It's something that you will have to insist. The minute that you deliver, start poking for the contract. Don't do it beforehand. Non-disclosure agreement, never or rarely signed it. There are a couple of companies in Slovenia who are really, meticulous about this one. Otherwise, it was just common sense, right? You're working for the newest C-Mobile, just don't talk around, don't be bragging. Sell all possible rights. That's the thing that people coming out of the faculty universities are all, oh, I'm gonna sell my authorship rights. Just sell them, who gives a damn, There are rules. You will keep your moral rights, but the artistic rights, it's a client, it's a thing that you will never need. Once you get to the level of Nike and stuff like that, you will be lawyered up, you will know what you're talking about. But now, as a junior, somewhere around there, sell them the rights. And you also have to know something a little bit about the rights. It's, if you sell a picture, all you do on that meeting, the most important one, you just ask them, well, will that picture appear? Is it going to be a TV ad? Is it going to be a print ad? Is it going to be banners on YouTube? No. And that actually just kind of puts a more expensive, price to your rights. And you are willing to sell them. Don't complicate. Nobody likes it, and nobody really knows. Nobody's been suing around, in my business about the rights. So it's actually safer than you really think, even if you sell them, no problem. But when you actually post the things that you work for a client, wait a couple of, even 3 to 6 months. Do not start bragging the minute that you land a project. Right, I'm working for C-Mobile, here's on Facebook, 3 to 6 months, wait for the campaign to go out. Clients also don't like that one. Never given a business card in the period when I was working for the clients in advertising. And all these logos, and I need a page and a brand, and nothing works. Formal education, not a single one in my almost 20 years for me as a 2D artist. It doesn't go for project managers and stuff. Never was I asked or conditioned by my formal education. Everybody's interested in, portfolio, price list. Never. I'm not saying that everybody who's going to the university that's going to harm you. It's not going to harm you. It's going to help you create your first portfolio, but it's not going to sell you as well. CV, never needed it. Of course, there are, when you actually start going into regular jobs, the CV is needed, but usually people just only look at the photo. If you're a beautiful woman or a man, that actually is the only useful thing in CV, at least in my, otherwise it's portfolio. And promotion doesn't work. I've told you about who's your promoter. The client's contacts and all these guys. It's insane that you will never reach, his reach. So don't actually go rewards, award, and that's going to sell you. It's not going to put even a dent in the price, nothing. When you deliver, do not expect the client to thank you. And this is a giveaway. If the client doesn't thank you, it's probably a middleman that you were working for. The contact is a middleman. Usually when you're working for one-on-one and the guy is really the guy responsible for the things that you've delivered, he will thank you. But it is rare that that happens. So silence means, okay, if on Monday you delivered and there's still silence, on Wednesday, it's fine, you've sold it. So don't be afraid of, all these, like moral issues in regards to that, right? It's there, it's sold, it's quiet, nice. Client will approach you, this is a trap, right? I'll get you full price, do it for half a price, we'll put a pitch, with your work. If we get the pitch, we'll give you, full price. Don't go there. What you do in that case, you will say, right, this is a relationship between your agency and maybe a company that's actually releasing the pitch. I don't want to be in that relationship. I'm out of that equation. It's you and me, and we are dealing with itself. What you do with the things that I do, and you pay fair price, I don't care. That doesn't chase the clients away. They put, it puts respect on you. That 15 goes to 20, just because you are actually able to do this. 2 clients at once. You're already engaged with the client, and there is another client there, and you're afraid that you will not, if you're not going to pick up the phone and actually respond to that one and accept that one, that they will not call again. Not true. What you do is actually pick up the phone, say, on Friday, I have the time, before I'm booked. But no, it's just 2 pictures, you'll do it fast, no. No, you say, I'll do it half-ass. You don't want me doing, and delivering you something that is not good. I have an utmost respect to the things that I do. Call on Friday or find another one. Please, thank you, goodbye. Every time, I had a client that we were just, mishapping all the time with the schedule. He was calling me for 2 years, for, at least once every 3 months. And I kept, it was just a mishap. I kept postponing, and he kept calling. I don't know why, but it happened. But we had a fair conversation. Don't whine in front of the client. The kindness and the fairness actually works, so don't be a nasty motherfucker. Really, it's important that you are nice. And also, it will create your values that will communicate with the client. I'm near the end, don't worry. I never missed a deadline. Something I'm proud of. Either I called beforehand, but the deadline was never missed, and I had 0 to no corrections, 0 to some corrections, right? I was fast, and I really, took care of the comfort, and that's where I could be expensive. Even if it was not beautiful, it was functional. And you will specialize. You will know that every client has a sort of tags for every freelancer. Jenko is fast and he works with storyboards. You will also have to adjust that and refresh with the client. If you're good at something and he thinks that you're specialized in something else, ask him, readjust. Otherwise they will just won't call you because they are not aware that you're actually good at something that you're not. This is the bottom line. You were an owner of that project, you were a mother for that one. You were not the boss of the things, but if you delivered any of the bottom examples, it's all your fault. It's not a fault of your client. For the first example, you didn't go to meeting. You didn't actually ask what was there, but you didn't communicate well. If the B option is, you just underperformed, you lowballed it, you didn't know yourself, your comfort zone was off, so you missed the deadline and you didn't complete it. For the option C, well, you're just crazy, right? So if you did something like this, that's a critical one. So you'll see that it is not about, the 15 or 40 or 450 or 2,000. It's not about the money. In my case, it's not about the talent. You saw that I was able to sell, ugly images. But it is about that I finished in time, and that is important, really, that is important. And was it functional? You will see that what is the minimal that you have to do to actually reach the point that the client needs, and how many problems have you caused. And that is something, imagine, like a waiter coming to you when you're having a meal and asking you, how was it? And you just say, yeah, fine, but the steak was shit, really, So also ask, you're a waiter now, ask your client, what do you do with these images? Yeah, I have to put them in a PDF, and then I have only 2 hours to adjust them with the text. And right, good. I sketch them first, I usually do. How about I send them, or even from the meeting, when the quick sketches happen? What about if I leave them here so you can actually crop it out, or I'm gonna crop it out? I'm gonna go, halfway there. And you'll have the text on Friday and on Monday. What you will do, you will wake up, you will go to the job, there's gonna be my mail in there, there's gonna be a zip file, and everything will fit together. And this is where that 40 happens, and this is where, people, this is why I'm guessing, only I can do is guess, I took care, so they didn't have to. And the money, the talent, the thing, that was all, secondary. So this is me exiting. I know I was sort of fast, so thank you for attending. Thank you, Tanya. Questions? Otherwise, there's a panel that's following. I'll also be attending that with Jure Prek and Blaž Porenta. And if you're in a rush to get a beer, we can have the questions later. Or if there are any, because I don't see you, there's a spotlight in my face, right? Okay.
I wanted to ask if you work with a client and, for example, they say that their budget is lower than what you would charge. Mm-hmm. Where is the line between being willing to compromise and decisively saying no?
No, you will just offer a lower technique, right? So you can afford colors, I can give you grayscale. That's it. And they will actually see the benefit. They will see your value. It's easy. What, you cannot afford colors? Then we'll do grayscale. Does that go through your pitch? This is how I did it. And actually it worked. They allowed it to actually go a level above because they saw the value. They just put the value out there.
Awesome, thank you.
Smo. Ste utrujeni, ne? There's a hand.
Yeah. You mentioned that you never, you said you never signed a contract beforehand.
Yes.
So does the mail, or what did you have? What kind of...
man code.
What did you have?
No, it's a risk. It's a risk. When you're going for that, you're exposing yourself, yes. I mean, if you can, you are forcing it, but the deadlines are sometimes so slow that when the thing, the monster, there's a lot of them, so that there's an accountant department. And what you also do, if you actually sign for 20 images in your contract that you would sign beforehand, and it often happens that at the end it's 23, you cannot ask for an annex to the contracts and stuff. So it actually worked in my favor that the contract was signed afterwards, because I put the real amount of work that I did. And it's not scary. It isn't. There's always there. I only have in that period. I only have one non-paying customer.
So you burned yourself just once.
Just once.
Okay.
I mean, I was not happy every time, but in terms of non-paying customer, because we made the deal, we saw each other, we sort of shared the responsibility. It just something happens there, right? If you're just a guy on the other side of the mail, they will fuck with you, right? Otherwise, it's not a personal. I never hung out with my clients in my personal life, but it was just that business relationship, and then it happens. But you will see. I mean, the quality of the client that I've dealt with, I don't know how they compare to the things that are out there today. I hope they're still sort of fair. Done. Thank you.